All right, welcome. I am back. I'm here, and I hope you are too. Hope you guys having a wonderful day. Today is October the 8th, 2025, and I am broadcasting live here from the beautiful state of Arizona, where we reached a high today in the 90s, so it's starting to get a little bit cooler now, thankfully, but it's nonetheless, it's still beautiful. And yeah, so another wonderful day. I hope you guys had a wonderful day too. And as we are marching through the month of March, before we know it, we're going to be at the end of this month. And we're going to, next thing you know, all of y'all going to be, and I mean all of y'all going to be sitting around your Christmas trees. I had to say that to trigger some of y'all, because I know I'm going to get some people in the comments talking about, we don't do the Christmas tree thing because, you know, the almighty yacht, whatever. So I'm just messing with y'all. But whatever you do, you know, we're getting close to that time of the year. Already in the store, we're seeing them putting the Halloween stuff up, and they're not playing. They everybody trying to get every coin this year. Well, we're going to give people about another minute before we go ahead and launch into what we're going to be talking about. And I assure you this will not be long at all. All right. So we're just going to dip in and then we're going to dip right back out. OK, so again, welcome to another broadcast. All right. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you again so much for tuning in to this broadcast. Right now, at the time that I'm live broadcasting, I got 2 people watching me. 2. Well, there's a little story that I think I'm seeing that's playing out right now. When you get the opportunity, I want you to take a look at our front page of our YouTube channel. And it will tell you that we have approximately, on this particular channel, we have approximately 47, is either 46 or 47,000 subscribers. Okay. And so that's quite a bit. That is quite a bit. However, when you notice when I go live, I'm not even getting a 0.10% of that at all. And I assure you, wasn't paying for subscribers. It wasn't anything like that at all. That's the result of being on this platform for many, many years and just growth that way. And yeah, and so that's what happened. But I always notice throughout the years, every time when I talk about a particular group of people, the small hats, I notice that funny things begin to happen with this channel. And, you know, they can't, you know, and over the years, I've learned that, you know, you have to be very careful with your language, you know, because if you're just talking off the top of your head when you're talking about this group of people, well, that gives them reason to basically to flag you and to accuse you of being this, that, or whatever. That's just the way it goes. But I learned over the years that when you are talking about this sacred chosen group of people, that the best way to do is to use their own stuff. You quote them word for word, letter by letter, book by book, article by article. And so it doesn't give them that much space to do anything to you. However, what we do know and what we are learning now is over the years is that this group of people are very much embedded in a lot of these social media platforms. And, you know, they have their committees and different things like that. You know, they basically are running things for the most part. And so one of the things that happens is that they will shadow ban you. And so one of the things I've noticed recently, because I started talking about this stuff again, because it just keeps coming up because you can't ignore it. I noticed that the views that I've been getting, it wasn't like a gradual, it just tanked. Like it literally was just overnight, just like a drop, just tanked completely. And what I'm believing is happening is it's not even notifications even going out, So I understand that this is their plantation. That's why I've been calling it for years a digital plantation. They're just continuing what they were doing back during the slave trade. And I'm going to continue to be who I am. I'm going to continue to tell the truth. And that's pretty much it. But if they can control the spigot like that when it comes to subscribers and things like that, I have no control over that. And I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. I'm not going to get angry over that. None of that at all. I'm not going to do anything, but continue to be who I am. And they're going to continue to be who they are. And so that is why I have been diverting my attention to other things, because I'm not going to continue to waste my time, when I can clearly see what's happening here. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been diverting my attention to other things that I think are probably way more important at this point. So, yeah, you're not going to be seeing too much of me, on this particular platform. And so, I just made some adjustments and changes just even in my own life. Because again, when I do these videos, it's, I do put a lot of work in it, putting it together, but it's kind of like these public school teachers. Sometimes they put in a lot of work and effort in preparing the class and everything. And then if nobody shows up or nobody's paid attention, what's the point? You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I said, let me divert my attention to other things. And that's what I'm doing. And so that's no pity party. That's none of that at all, because people who do want to know about things we've talked about in the past, we have many videos. We have closing in over 900 videos on this platform. And you can go through any of them, and you're going to find a number of them, even though they may have been done last year or year before last. It's pretty current, some of the things. But we're not going to back away from any of these topics simply because we're afraid that Master Stein is going to do something. No, we're not at all. In fact, we're going to triple down and continue to say as we feel suit. We're going to continue to talk about these different topics. And so, yeah. So I just want y'all to know about that, and just you could see it right for yourself. 47,000 subscribers. Right now, we hit 8 viewers right now. You know what I'm saying? So you see what's happening. You know what I mean? And so I'm not going to continue to go that route. I got other things I can be doing, and that's what I'm going to be doing. So anyway, I did want to jump on here because there's two things I want to touch on, maybe three, but there's two things I want to touch on. Number one, I have been preparing. One of the things I've been focused on is our class that we're going to be having this coming Sunday, Breaking the Chains, the Journey Beyond Belief. This is, I say class, is actually more like a seminar that we're going to be having this weekend. Sunday. It's going to be about 5 hours. So it's going to be a quite lengthy one. And I'm still putting things together right now, but basically what this whole seminar is about, it's for people who have been in a religious world, be it in Christendom or you a Hebrew Israelite. That's our background. That's our experience. And we're going to talk and there, when we were in both of these spaces, there were many questions that we had that anytime we would ask these questions, a lot of times we would get the hand, basically, no, you going too far now. You going past the wall. You can't ask those questions. You can't dig like that. You got to stay over here. Who do you think you are? That kind of thing. And so over the years, my wife and I, we have seen and experienced and learned quite a bit. And we've actually shared much of the information that we're going to be sharing in this seminar. You can actually find it on this platform. Much of it, not all, but much of it. We've done videos on many of these things, but we decided to pack it all into one seminar so that you get just one package. Plus, you're going to also get a booklet that goes along with it. That's going to be an easy reference that you can thumb through and all that stuff. Now, the first part of the class, I'll just give you an idea of how it's going to go. First part of the class, it's going to be my wife and I basically sharing our testimony. We're just going to compact it like within a half an hour. And then after that, for the next couple of hours, we're going to get into looking at the main pillars, of the Bible, the main claims, the main stories. We're going to start at the creation story. Then we're going to look at Abraham. Then we're going to look at Deuteronomy 28. That's the big chapter that Hebrew Israelites like to use and pull from, because they believe that Deuteronomy 28 was written specifically for Black Americans. Well, we're going to take a look at that, and we're going to hold it against the full context of when that was written, who they were actually talking about, and is there truth to that claim? We're going to look at that. We're also going to move along and talk about Moses. Did Moses exist? If he didn't, were there other influences to create this figure that we call today Moses? We're going to look at that, okay? We're also going to look at the Ark. We did a video a while back talking about the Ark of the Covenant. If you think that the Ark of the Covenant was the first and only type of box, if you will, that was carried around by a group of people, you better think again, because prior to the Ark of the Covenant, when you look at the dates, there were going back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, you had other groups that were doing the same thing, okay? So we're going to dig into that as well. Then we're going to move into, that's Moses, the Ark of the Covenant. Then we're going to move into Jesus. We're going to talk about this person, Jesus. Who is he? Where did he come from? We're going to, basically what we're doing is we're holding up the Bible and we're holding up factual, documented history. All right. That's the that's the approach that we're going to take. Okay. So we're going to look at Jesus, right? Then we're going to look at Paul. We're going to take a look at Paul. Did Paul really exist? If he didn't exist, were there some influences there? Who did Paul pull from? And a lot of the scriptures that he gave, were these coming straight from his mouth to paper, or was he pulling from other sources? Well, we're going to take a look at those sources, right? We're also going to look at the book of Revelation as well. We're going to look at the book of Revelation, and we're going to look at what's the full context of that book, why it was written, who exactly were they talking about, everything else, right? So we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that. Then we're going to move on and talk about the impact of religion, regardless of your religion, doesn't matter, on your brain. We're going to get into some neuroscience. What is the impact of religion on your brain? And we're going to look into that and all kinds of things that go along with that, right? We're also going to talk about, I'm just doing all this from memory here. We're also going to talk about, there are, my wife and I, we certainly went through this. People who, let's say you're in a ministry, you're in a church, and you've reached a point of dissatisfaction, where you're wanting to leave, right? And you're wondering, how do I do this? Now, you've had people tell you over the years that, okay, well, you're going to have to sit down with the elders. Then you're going to have to sit down with the pastor. Then you make sure that the assistant pastor is there and all of that. Then you're going to have to write out all of this stuff, because after all, the Bible says, let everything be done decent and in order, right? So, so we're going to really look into that. Is that something that you should do or not? Those kind of things. Now, during all of this time, of course, we're going to be taking multiple breaks, and you'll have the, opportunity to ask any and all questions. The whole thing will be recorded. So for those who participate in it, you will have the opportunity of going back and rewatching and all of that stuff, right? So you'll get that. along with the book as well. Okay, so and I say book, don't think it's going to be like a War and Peace thickness. Okay, it ain't going to be that. It's just pretty much the notes and the slides and stuff. That's all going to be included during the presentation. But it's going to be very easy going, easy flowing. It starts Sunday. It's going to be this Sunday starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be on Zoom. Now, for those who have signed up for it, just be on the lookout. The next couple of days, I would say Thursday, which is tomorrow, or Friday, I will have an email go out to you that's going to have the link information to Zoom and all of that. So you'll get that information prior to, okay? And if you're not familiar with Zoom, please take the time to familiarize yourself, because we're not going to be giving any training sessions on how to use Zoom, okay? So make sure that your camera doesn't have to be on, just as long as you're there, it's all good, okay? And if you want to sign up and register, it's right there go to sabatree.com, click on Saba University, and then there you go, okay? So I wanted to let you know of that. That's number one. And number two, just wanted to introduce you guys as well. We do now have on Sabatree, we do have subscription services. And basically, we notice that people tend to order the same things over and over again. And we've been saying for a long time, we need to get a subscription service going on so that it's automatic. You know what I mean? So now we have that. So if you are on the email list, you should have gotten an email from us today that tells you all about it. Or you can just go to sabatree.com, and then, we put a lot of things in that subscription service. Most of the products are, but not all of them. So, just go to your favorite products and you'll see something on the screen that will give you that option where you can set up an automatic monthly subscription where once a month you'll just get your products. You only have to think about it. Okay. So that's all on our website, sabatree.com. So I just wanted to take the time and cover all of that. And again, as always, we thank you guys, and we really appreciate each and every one of you, for being part of the Sabatree family. And we really do. And so just wanted to let you know of all of that. Now, let's get into just the one topic that we're going to talk about this evening. And that is this whole thing, regarding the Black political class. Now, as many of you should be aware of right now, is, over the years, the Black political class, it's been memorialized. It's been seen as, these are the standard bearers. I can recall way back here in Maxine Waters and other members of the Congressional Black Caucus saying that they are the actual conscious of the Congress. And that's what they believe that they are, and all of that. And so when it actually comes to the real needs of Black Americans, and we're not just talking about handouts like welfare stuff and all of that, but I'm actually talking about policies that move Black Americans forward, those kind of things. They tend to not be as effective. The latest thing that we're seeing right now is one of many ways of how these individuals are pushing policies that really are anti-Black American, and Black Americans for years have been making the case that how, immigration or illegal immigration, legals that come over here, the negative impact that they have been having on Black Americans. In the area of just safety, for example. Now, again, let me be clear. I am not suggesting that everyone that comes to this country is a criminal, because that's not true. Okay. People that come into this country, they are not criminals in the sense of committing violent crime, that kind of thing. So that's not true at all. However, they are breaking the law. I mean, that's just what it is. And see, all I have to do is look at the countries of their origin. Their own origin countries, and we can go down the list all throughout Central and Southern South America. You'll find that many of their countries have a very stiff immigration policy. You and I, we just can't walk across their borders and then all of a sudden I'm giving a free house, I'm giving free education and all this stuff. It doesn't work that way. They will put you on the first thing smoking, or they will You know what I'm saying? And they have every right to do that because that is their country. That's their country. And so, just like anybody else, I got neighbors on either side of my house here. I can't just walk in their backyard and set up a tent and start cooking on the grill and be like, hey, I'm home. You know, y'all want some? Well, too bad, because I ate it all. You can't do that. That's their stuff. You understand what I'm saying? But this country, unfortunately, has over the years has made it clear that when it comes to people obeying simple law, well, that's conditional. You don't really have to do that. It wasn't always the case, but now we have seen over the past years how those laws have been not only relaxed, but they've been and it's been encouraged for people to break the law. So when we look at black politicians taking a cursory view of black Americans when it comes to how we impacted by this stuff, well, we can talk about it when it comes to employment, for example. There are many jobs that, I remember back in the day hearing it was a politician was saying something to the effect that, they're doing the jobs that most Americans don't want to do. And a lot of people rightfully took offense at that because the truth be told is, yes, there are many people who do want to do those jobs. I took the task. His last name is Boyd. This is the guy that's over the Black Farmers Collective or whatever. And he's the black farmer that goes around and he shows up anytime he needs money. He shows up in DC with a horse, and he's got his farmer gear on and all of that. And he was going on different platforms saying that, it was very hard and difficult for him to find workers. Right. And so, now he's a farmer. Farmers are in agriculture. Right. And so I simply pointed out, you have all of these agricultural based schools, Black American schools all throughout the Southeast. They specialize in that. They have students who are ready, willing, and able to do some of these things, but whatever. I just did the video. Who watched it, don't know, but I think it's a very valid point, but for him to say that nobody's interested in that was a complete and utter lie. And there's other jobs that we can point to as well. We're talking about now in light of this H-1B situation. I'm seeing it firsthand here in Arizona, where a lot of these East Indians they're shaking in their boots right now, because now their employers are saying, well, wait a minute now, I ain't trying to pay all that money to keep you. You ain't that important. Let me get let me create an AI situation real quick to replace you. And I'm seeing firsthand a lot of these, they getting rid of their houses. They trying to, because that money ain't coming in like it was. But you do have qualified Black Americans who have gone to these schools, these coding schools and, or just colleges and stuff like that, who are ready, willing, and able to take those places. But as you know, that's not going to probably be the case, unfortunately. And we've talked about that as well. When it comes to crime, again, I will stress again that just because someone enters into this country illegally, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are a violent criminal. But have they broken the law? Yes, and that needs to be emphasized. Okay, so when you look at places like in Chicago, or you look in New York, or in New Jersey and Newark, in Maryland and DC and all of that, you're going to find that a lot of these crimes that are being committed, not all, but many of them are being committed by gang members who are themselves filled with people who have entered into this country illegally. Okay. This has been proven over and over again. But what we're finding is there are a number of mayors, particularly Black mayors, who are basically saying, hey, well, I'm here to protect all my citizens, right? So let me just kind of do a quick rundown here, and let's take a look at some of these clips here of Black mayors and how they are really taking a stance to protect these illegals. So let's take a look real quick. I'm just going to run down. I'm just going to drag and drop some of these videos here. Let's take a look.
We're going to fight for all Angelenos, regardless of when they got here, whether they have papers or not. We are a city of immigrants, and this impacts hundreds of thousands of Angelenos.
Well, the real Chicagoans that I talk to, that I communicate with, mostly black and brown, actually, tell me that you don't seem to know the difference between illegal aliens and real Chicago citizens. They feel that you are siding with the illegal aliens over them in their communities. And okay. Sadly,
William, let's get to the question.
Let's get to the question. The real question is simply this. I don't know how to make it any more direct. An illegal alien from Nicaragua grabbed a woman on the north side last week, bashed her head into the sidewalk, knocked her unconscious, and raped her. If that had been your wife, Stacey.
Okay, all right, we're not going to answer it. Thank you. Thanks, William.
All right.
Would you want ICE to deport her?
All right. Let's move on.
Yes or no?
Let's move on.
Answer the question as a man, not as mayor, but as a man. Would you want
thanks. Thank you.
ICE to deport that rapist?
All right. Taman?
Okay,
Mayor.
That's the answer. That's the answer for real Chicago.
Mayor, sorry for being late. The traffic's bad. Maybe the feds could help.
You're not blaming me for the traffic, are you, Taman? Watch it. Today, we are signing an executive order aimed at reining in this out-of-control administration. The order establishes ICE-free zones. That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
LA Mayor Karen Bass taking some action, signing an executive order in response to federal immigration raids. One part of her plan, direct cash assistance for families impacted. Tonight, one of the people who's leading that effort joins us live. Conway Collis is the president and CEO of the Mayor's Fund for Los Angeles. Welcome. Thanks so much. So how do these cards work and who gets them?
Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for covering this, because so often what gets covered is just bad news. There are things that are going really well, and the cards are one of them. And so, look, this is for documented, undocumented people. It's for people in need. And I think what's important, and they'll be distributed through nonprofit organizations, through the city's family source centers, through a variety of ways that it actually gets to people directly, and they can use it directly. You know, what's important, I think, is that it doesn't only help the people who are getting the cards. It helps all of us. Because what affects one of us and helps them from becoming homeless helps all of us.
So, this is not taxpayer money. This is not direct government assistance. This is private money that's been donated for the idea of helping people. That's an important thing to point out. But there's still a lot of people who feel like helping undocumented people, even with private money, is incentivizing people to break the law and be here. They shouldn't be rewarded for being undocumented. What do you say to those
Look,
people?
These are our neighbors. The fact is that there are people in LA, they're doing the work, they're supporting families, they're working in restaurants and hospitals and health clinics. They're people that are doing a lot of the work in Los Angeles. The fact is that, look, it's not that we're encouraging people to come here illegally. It's saying that, look, for productive people in Los Angeles who are contributing to Los Angeles life, and most are, that it's important to at least be sure that they're living at a reasonable standard.
So how do you get a card?
So the nonprofits will be reaching out to people. There'll be numbers that are and addresses for people to call in and walk in who are eligible for the cards. And there are lots of nonprofits whose business it is to serve people directly who will be distributing them.
And I know Churla is involved in that.
I got one more to show, but I wanted to stop there for a second just to highlight in that clip we saw. He said, it's not like we're encouraging these people. Bro, you literally are giving away money. What do you, that's not encouragement. If I heard that the mayor in the next town was giving out money, guess who's going to be a temporary citizen of that community? You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, this ain't even political doublespeak we're talking. This is just you're dumb, that's how they think, and we're going to take full advantage of that by talking dumb to you. And it's just really something. And then you saw the mayor of Chicago, who basically was, he's putting his absolute foot down. Someone asked him point blank, hey, this is what happened. Can you address it? He had his flunkies basically to run cover for him, and he kept it moving. Anyway, it's just really something. Here's another video. Now, Trump has really been going after, in, Chicago specifically, but also the state of Illinois, because he's not just going after the mayor. He's also going after the governor as well. Well, the lieutenant governor, her name is Juliana Stratton. She had some words to say. Let me pull her up on the screen and show you just how serious she is about protecting these illegals that come into this country. Take a listen.
Listen, if Donald Trump thinks that by arresting Governor J.B. Pritzker that this fight is over, he is sorely mistaken, because he's going to have to come through me next, and I'm going to pick up right where J.B. left off. Illinois stands united in fighting back against Donald Trump's power grab.
Why is it that you have all of this smoke and energy against Trump, but the gangs running around and terrorizing black citizens? And I've done a video on that, just playing different clips of I'm talking about black Americans that have been outraged about how literally the mayor has been giving up, literally busing black communities with illegals. They are literally doing this. And it's black local politicians that are pushing this. There was one case where they took over, I think it was like a old school building or something like that. And they just said, okay, we're going to convert this into like apartments or something, or like a temporary, shelter for illegals. And we're just going to push them all in there. Well, the black folks start getting mad because they were like, hold on. Because, okay, you just going to just flip the switch like that. But they're bringing in some things in here that we don't like. It's impacting our livelihood here. But people, they just overlook that. It doesn't even get acknowledged. Here's another video here. She's not a politician, but I guess she kind of plays one on television. You guys have seen her. She's with The View. And she is... I'm sure this is how far these people go when they are so desperate to push these, these policies here. Where's my thing here? Oh, here it is right here. Let's take a listen to her. I want to show you just how desperate these people are.
Don't have cars, don't have driver's licenses. So it's sort of a vestige of, I think, post-slavery laws where black people had to prove their right to vote. And oftentimes they couldn't vote because they couldn't pass some crazy test, or they didn't have the appropriate ID. It also affects women that are married. Maybe your passport reflects something that's different on your birth certificate or on your driver's license. So really the bottom line is voter suppression. And I agree with him 100%. It's a brilliant notion that less voter ID laws allows more people to vote. And most democracies do it that way. We're the only ones that really don't do it that way.
Right.
Yeah, so her, like many other these Democrats in particular, they are pushing, they've been pushing these, let's get rid of voter ID laws, because it reminds us a lot about during the Jim Crow era and all that. Let's cut the crap and let's get to actual history. What they were doing to Jim Crow, that was showing enough racism. Point blank. There's no excuse for that at all. What politicians were doing at that time, they knew the literacy rate of many black Americans during that time. So what they did was they came up with these laws and said, okay, let's kind of filter them out. Let's kind of create these laws and see if they can read the Constitution or something like that. It's just crazy stuff, right? So that was wrong, okay? But it did not take away from the fact that they were still born here. They're still American at the end of the day, whether if you can read or not. And let's be clear, they wasn't just black folks that were having a hard time reading in those pockets, but there were plenty of white folks that couldn't read either. You understand what I'm saying? So these laws, particularly, That's who they targeted, right? But that's not the same as claiming that comparing black folks in Jim Crow to what we just saw going on in LA, where you have a black mayor who is working with private companies, private businesses, and the private businesses are saying, we're going to donate millions of dollars so that you can give it to not black Americans, but you can give it to these people who are coming to this country illegally. That is not the same. That is not the same as what black Americans went through during Jim Crow era. That is not the same at all. Thankfully, there are still numbers of black Americans who are alive today that will tell you and verify everything I'm saying. The government wasn't handing jack out to black Americans during that time. Not at all. Every coin that they got, they had to get it through their own hard work. There was no handouts. There was none of that until they got their sacrifice of Martin Luther King and then Malcolm X and all that. They said, okay, now that you have offered us a sacrifice, and now we can flip it, and now we can start giving you things. We're going to give you some government jobs. That's what we're going to do. We're going to give you some government jobs. And that's what they did. We took the bait. We danced all day and night because they gave us a civil rights bill, even though the civil rights bill don't even mention black in it. Literally does not even mention the word black in it. But we danced and partied all night about that bill. And we saw exactly how that played out for us, didn't we? True. I mean, it's just what it is. So anyway, what's the point of all this I'm making? Folks, listen, at the end of the day, you cannot, in this society, in this world, in this matrix system that we live in, there are forces that are at play, that have been at play, that from time to time, they are getting exposed. We're saying right now what Candace Owens is doing, I mean, just on her own, is exposing a lot of this stuff that people have been very afraid of. What's been going on on the right conservative movement and amongst Republicans, how they have been single-handedly owned and controlled by Israel, plain and simple. And I can, if I had the time, I would go into it and I would show you in many other ways, even though you'll find many black politicians tend to skew more on the side of we're Team Gaza or whatever. But I can actually go through and show you that how many of them are also getting backdoor money from Jews that are in the political system as well. Because I told you, one of the things I always tell you is they play this group of people. They always play both sides. They always do in everything. I want to play this clip here of Matt Getz here. I thought it was really interesting here. I want you to take a listen to, what he was saying, how it works behind the scenes, just right in your face, and how he was basically how they went after him. Let's take a listen to this.
Initially, I resented the fact that there was no appreciation for nuance. Like if you asked any questions about any decision of the Israeli government in any place regarding settlements, regarding Gaza, whatever, you were like, you had deviated from the script. And I just, in any policy area, I had resentment over that. And then I saw the way the AIPAC worked, and that was weird for like a country lawyer like me. I remember my first AIPAC reception, and like your fundraiser tells you have to go, and your chief of staff tells you have to go, your committee chairman all tell you have to go, and you get there and you wear this name badge, and I remember there's a QR code on it, and what we were supposed to do was go talk to donors, and then if they liked you, they scanned your QR code to make a donation, like on the spot. And so this, can you just imagine how demoralizing that is to like be told that your job for the next several hours to go chat people up, hoping they would scan you like a can of tomato soup on the way out of the meeting.
I mean, it's literally purchasing.
Right. And so I saw that and I was like, wow, that is so freaking weird. And then, I was in Israel. I went multiple times, and I did not like the fact that I found someone in my room rooting around in my stuff that should not have been there at the King David Hotel when I came back to my room when no one was expecting me to be back in my room. And I just
presumably Israeli law enforcement.
Well, I don't know who it was. I just thought, like, this is weird. All of these things combined are odd, and then the policy outgrowth seems to be an obsession about the Middle East that has not served my generation well.
Y'all, he's just, he's talking about the whole Israel thing, but I'm showing you that because I want you to understand just how these politicians, you really think that they're for your interests. They are not for your interests at all. And that includes black politicians. And unfortunately, many black folks have fallen for this and believe that somehow these black politicians are there to push your interests. They're not. This is why, and folks, let me just say this again. I'm going to keep on saying this, and people get mad when I say this, but I told you, I'm just going to be me. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to sit back, and it's going to play out. There was a video, I'm trying to remember where that video is, and I was like, man, I wish I had, let me see. I might have it here. Hold on for a second. I might have it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Okay. Now, this is on the topic of reparations. Okay. I want you to pay very close attention to this man. Now, he's in China. This man is in China, and he is really impressed on how things work in China. Right. And this ties into reparations. So for all my people out here who are leaning on your black politicians to push reparations, I want you to follow the bouncing ball here that I'm presenting to you. OK, so let me bring this up on the screen. I want you to take a listen, and we're going to listen to what this man is saying. I'm going to have a few words about it. OK,
I'm in China, and I'm going to show you exactly how advanced this country is. Just gonna walk in a regular shop and grab 2 bottles of water. The best kind. I'm gonna pay totally without cash. I have no cash on me at all. I have no phone, no nothing. I'm gonna pay with a different method. So here in China, they have like various methods of payment because where it's so advanced, they've gone a little bit further than just phone payment, car payment, cash payment. A little bit different. Watch this. How mental is that? Paid with the palm of my hand. The palm of my hand. So people are thinking, hold on, that's a bit dangerous. So it's 100% accurate. Your identical twin, if you had one, could go in there and it would refuse them. And also, blood needs to be running through your veins. So it goes from the palm print and also the combination of veins and the blood flowing through them in your hand. So if you chop someone's arm off and used their hand, it wouldn't work. If your identical twin used their hand, it wouldn't work. So it's 100% accurate. It is the most advanced technology in the world. It's more advanced than facial recognition. It's more advanced than fingerprints. It's amazing. And this is what China are doing. China are changing the world of cashless payment. Everyone in the comments will say, no way, that's dangerous, I wouldn't do that. You wait, mate. Give it 20 years, every convenience store in the world will have technology like that. This is China.
Okay, so what I got to say on that, I know for some of you, you're like, okay, so what, big deal or whatever. And how does that tie into reparations? And how does that tie into these black politicians and a lot of these talking heads? Okay, so let me help you kind of put the picture together here. Okay, so you have on this corner here, you have black politicians who claim to represent you and your interests. And we're seeing very clearly that that's not the case at all, right? So you got that side. Then you got over here, you got black individuals who have social media platforms, you know, such as here on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, to get you, even though they will talk all kinds of garbage about all these different black politicians and say they're not this, that, or whatever. They are pushing policies that will only happen if this group listens. Are you following me? Are you tracking with me on this? So even though they got a lot to say about, you know, they ain't doing nothing in the, you know, Congressional Black Caucus, they ain't like, blah, 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 blah. If you're pushing reparations, you by all your anger, what they're saying, they're training you to shift your anger and to say that the only way this is going to get done is through these black politicians. Okay? So no matter how angry you get, at the end of the day, you still believe that the only way it's going to happen is by this group. And as we just demonstrated in this video, they have no interest. All right, so let's take this group away for a second. Let's take away the black politicians. And let's say we're left with all the people who want reparations. We want our reparations. And let's just say Trump, whoever's in office, he's listening and he's like, you know what? We need to give those Negroes reparations. So he grants it. He gives you reparations. Now, let's take what we just saw, this last video of what they're talking about, what's going on in China. Now, he talked about how, hey, it's cashless. I could just put my hand there and scan it and that's it. Your money, every coin, digital coin that you earn in somewhere like China, because because they said, I was listening to one person, they said, man, I haven't even seen paper money over here. That's how digital they are. They use these apps and stuff over there now anytime they want to pay stuff. So let's just say Trump says, okay, we're going to give all the black Americans, we don't work out all the details. We're going to give every black American $50 million. I'm just throwing out a number. Okay. We're going to give every black American $50 million. But I'm glad this is happening now because, you know, with the whole cash thing is concerned, well, let's not give them cash. We're going to give them digital money. Now, what this guy did not mention in his little, oh my God, this is so awesome, I don't need cash. He didn't mention the social credit score aspect, where basically if you are if you don't get a certain score, they can restrict how you spend your money. So in other words, you like, okay, I want to get this. I want to buy a phone. I want to buy a camera. I want to buy, whatever. I want to buy this, that, or whatever. They can automatically cut your stuff off and say, no, you can't. You may have all this money, but you ain't going to be able to spend it around here because it's digitized, which means we can control it. So what I'm saying to you is that this system and why we have to unplug from it and come up with our own solutions, like bartering and things like that, is because what this matrix system is trying to get you into, even the people out here that are bad mouthing, the black politicians and saying this, that, or whatever, they still are looping you back in where they're telling you, well, the only solution that you have is you got to go through those politicians, those dastardly politicians. They are, and so what are they giving you to loop back in? Reparations. They're telling you, okay, so they got to sell you on reparations. So you got black folks from East Coast to West Coast, up north into the South, that are all pushing for reparations. And what reparations really is, it's a cry for more control. That's what it is. That's what it is at the end of the day. See, many of you are looking at it as some kind of check that you're going to be able to spend and do what you want, and it's just going to be raining that day, man. I want to go on. Why just settle for a cruise trip when I can buy the whole cruise line? All that kind of stuff. No. Remember, you are going to the controllers for them to give you more day passes. That's basically what this comes down to. So anyway, I don't know if that went over people's heads. Maybe people get it, maybe not. But I do assure you that at some point in your life, you will get it. And one way or the other, you'll learn either the easy way or you'll learn the hard way. My hope is that you will learn the easy way and start making some course corrections now, so that you're not falling into the trap of this circular trap where you're just going in circles, believing that this system really, if you just fight hard enough, it's going to, it's going to start caring for you. It doesn't. It hates you. This narrative that we live in right now today, it hates you. It does not like you. It is not your friend. Does that mean you don't have any hope? No, there's always hope. There's things that you can do to protect yourself. And we try to talk about that on this platform. But I am telling you, for me as an individual, I am actively curtailing my contribution to this platform. I'm shifting to other things because this platform, I am seeing in 4K what they are doing and what's happening. And when it comes to the numbers and all of that, I see what's happening. So, thankfully, I do have a lot of stuff on here. If you're interested, you can watch it. If not, then that's you, But anyway, just want to share those thoughts, and I hope you got something out of it. Remember, check out our website, sombertree.com. We got a lot going on over there. That's where my focus is to get people their health and wellness up, and that's what I'm focused on right now. So anyway, that is all I have. Thank you so much. And remember, those who signed up for our class, I have an email that I will be putting out over the next day or two with the Zoom information. Okay, so you'll get that information. Again, that class is going to be on this Sunday starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, thanks again for tuning in. You guys take care, and I'll see you again soon.